Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Hand of Fate 2. So, last episode we tried to do this quest and I failed in the first level. And I said I'd play offline and just get to the caravan in the final level of this quest. And so that's where we are. Surprisingly, it's pretty easy. They basically tell you that you use the rebel card for the first level and then the rebel character will survive. Then you use the hero card in the second level and then the hero will survive. And then in the third level you use the ally card and then the ally, Colborn, will survive. Which implies that there might be a situation here where we use the mage at the very end in this fight. This is the one where the Empire just closes in on you, and there's really not anything you can even do in this scenario. There might be 3 random encounters. In playing this the second time, I've had some good luck. You can see my maximum health is at 117 and I have 27 food, so I'm in a pretty great position. I have no gold. I'm at 46 armor. As far as items go, we're still using the peeler. Really haven't fought that many armored empire enough to get this quest done. And then I've been using Hero's Call, which is not very useful. One of the allies' event cards did upgrade Empire's Ruin, so we'll go ahead and just equip that now. So it will cause 50 damage and slow to the Empire, and I'll have 5 uses in that final battle. We hope that that is actually the final battle and that it isn't just 2 battles behind. We have the Ring of Concentration, we have the extra life when you eat food, and then Band of Faith, not proving to be very useful because each level really changes who you're fighting. Like the first level you're fighting corrupted, but then the second level you're fighting thieves, third level I think you're fighting northerners more and by the third level, so yeah, that's not quite as useful. We didn't upgrade any defense, so it's just 10 defense for the helm, 22 for this, and nothing else. Defense not really showing something that really is that necessary. It's helpful, I'm sure, every now and then. So we'll just read the dialogue and finish this, and hopefully we can move on to the next level in this episode. You descend the mountain pass and enter the forest dotted with blooms of red flowers, the marigold fields. Malclips shouts, There, the caravan. In the clearing you spy a lone wooden caravan. Reach the caravan. A mournful horn shouting behind you signals the Empire is closer than ever. They're here. Australia stops Ariande from pulling out her hammer. No, it's no use. We must run. Now go. So it's just like 2 encounter cards possibly that we'll run into before we get to the caravan, and then it is basically just a boss fight at that point. Each of the Empire is let's see. We'll do this trade. It's not really much. I don't think you'd use any of your
I would always ask you to be more careful than you are by nature.
So yeah, that event card's not going to do anything. We're at full health now. We have enough food to refill our health. Right. So, unless I was going to sell my headgear, which would make sense, I apparently cannot combine potions or recharge artifacts, which is weird because I would have thought I could. So this event card's not going to do anything either. It doesn't matter. So yeah, we're going to land on a new beginning, which storyline, remember, we're playing this game to retcon or tell the tale of what happened in reality that led to the events of us actually being in this cart next to the dealer. And we have just gone full circle in the game to reaching the caravan, which obviously we're in the caravan, so canonically, storyline wise, we did make it to the caravan. Now, my question more than anything here would be, where are the companions? Did they all die in this final battle, or are they just sitting in silence behind me where I cannot see? Which would be an interesting turn of fate, certainly, as if you did just see all four of your platinum level companions sitting behind you. But it would also be very awkward. All we can do is go forward, and then we'll just see as they all line up. I don't think there's any way to avoid this. It's all steel Empire characters. Imperial soldiers surround you as you approach the clearing with the caravan. The knight steps forward. Fools, he calls. No one can hope to escape the Empire's reach. You have to survive. You have survived this far not by luck or skill. You have survived because we let you. You've been ambushed. He chuckles. If the sacrifice of an emperor is what it takes to draw out the last of the mages, which I guess the dealer is supposed to be the last of the mages, which I honestly don't know if that's really true. It may also be that the mage is the last of the mages and they don't even know about the dealer. Then it is a price that must be paid. The knight steps aside as the soldiers completely surround you. With the inevitably of the Empire closing in, you give the nod and your companions ready their weapons. Colborne looks you in the eye. You know we're not going to get through this unscathed, but I see no other way. Each available companion is once again just going to remove a monster card. Ariandi winds her hammer above her head as she rushes towards the enemy. Right. So we'll use her ability and try to double huge successes. And I have no idea. So I'm going to bet that one. Always bet 2 if you don't have a better choice. So we have a 7 of Steel Brimstone here that we could get rid of. And I think that's probably the first one to get rid of. Ariandi defeats her target before being overrun by enemies. Australia dashes toward a group of enemies, swords drawn. Okay, we like
the
gold
pendulum
here,
swings like a scythe,
but this is going to be
bearing hope
difficult
or failure.
one, so I think I'll probably just go with silver on the second attempt. That's really the way to do it, is just go somewhat safe on the second attempt and get rid of something. The difference there is it's just going to get rid of a random one instead of letting you pick. So silver would have been pretty fine anyways. Malcolm's book closes as he summons the spell. This is all the same dialogue every time they do it. And the real move here, I think, is to mostly just try and avoid hitting a failure point. It might be a little bit easier to pull that off had you a brimstone card to focus your eyes on, but yeah, we're already down to 3 cards. If I got rid of the Captain of Steel at this point, I'd be in a pretty good position. But then there is also an argument to get rid of the Muskets of Steel. Then there would only be 2 people on the field, And my peeler could make short work of even very powerful characters. Koblin lets out a mighty war cry and charges the first group of enemies. Yeah, there is a very decent chance here that Koblin is going to take out. We could take out the most deadly of
Victory.
people.
You are learning.
So I could just get rid of a General of Steel right now. And then it would be 1 Captain of Steel and 5 Muskets of Steel. I think that's pretty easy. Koblin defeats this target before being overrun by enemies. So as a final battle goes, this is nothing really. But it would have been a massively different experience had I only 1 companion, maybe Malclips, at this point, or had I no companions at all, which this does definitely just highlight that the only way you're going to beat this game, or I would beat this game, is playing on easy, first of all, because I didn't get anywhere in this game playing on normal with its actions and reactions. Maybe normal mode should be labeled as hard mode and unlock after you beat the game 1 time. But also, you've got to get the platinum characters unlocked for the first 4 companions. And that does make me suspect that
you make a poor
that
apprentice.
Hubie,
Cultivate focus.
the goblin companion, probably has a similar quest path that's just as difficult, where you need to get him to platinum to unlock something, but it may not be something important. Okay, so we got rid of the general, but then they added back a Knight of Steel. So we still gonna fight 1 Brimstone Knight, and that was the real boss. But still probably the right move to get rid of the general there. So be it, the knight says, stepping forward. He lowers his helmet and draws his weapons. He calls the last of his men in charge. So I could have done it slightly better, I think. But not by much. Now remember, we have Empire's Bane as an item. So here's the traitorous knight, and I guess he's traitorous because he let the Emperor die just to find the last mage. At the front lines of great upheaval, you always find men who flounder anywhere but in the midst of battle. Heavily armored, a knight can be easily turn the tide of battle, use bash to break their armor. Now, traitorous knight's probably the wrong word. Maybe treacherous knight would have been a better label, or just give the character a name like they've done with so many other stories. Okay. That's half his health gone. Whoops. That's him down. And that literally just leaves this guy. And I would say at this point, I don't need to use Empire's Bane anymore, so... Now you can see the caravans even in the background. So I assume that's the final battle, but maybe we have a whole nother battle in this story.
Here we are, perched at the moment of revelation. One more must fall.
You stumble across the clearing, the caravan waiting ahead, so there's one last chance here to screw up. The caravan waiting ahead of you. 4 mages lay lifeless on the ground. Among them is a familiar gaunt figure of the hermit, relinquished of the fabric mountain that draped him in the winter forest. He lies in a simple pale robe, like a burial smock. So we saw the hermit in a previous companion quest called the Hermit, obviously, where soldiers will soon be upon you. The familiar disembodied voice echoes in your head. You must draw them away from the caravan before all is lost. Well, all logic here, you're not getting a lot of hints, would be to play the Magician, since I've already played the Ally and the Rebel and the Hero. And I don't really see any other reason why I didn't play somebody different, unless this is some kind of weird random situation where it changes each time, which that would be insane to do that. This game is already too random for what is a game that really should just be more strategic deck building. So we'll send Malclips, the Magician. The Hermit's voice fades and his body turns blue and cold. So was it the Hermit that was talking in our head this whole time? And I guess I really haven't been focusing or mentioning that you've been hearing people's voice in your head for this mission now and then. Malclips sighs, turning his head to the sounds of the approaching Empire army. The Hermit was there with me. He faces you smiling sadly. We brought somebody back from the maws of death that should probably have stayed in, and so brought the corruption into this place. So this is wrapping up the story where the Magician and the Hermit, and probably a few other mages, brought somebody back and created a corruption. Now the person they brought back may very well be the dealer, because the dealer is obviously corrupted, and that is causing the blight and the other corruption around the world, it seems. Malcolm chuckles in disbelief. I am sorry. I'm sorry that you had to cut off my arm. That must have been horrific, and I'm sorry I won't be here to explain more. The one who awaits you in the caravan. Do the wise thing. He's really not giving you a lot of instruction there. The bard's well-styled mustache twitches with a wry smile. I'll miss you, my coin slave. Which that phrase never really seemed like it was necessary to use. Before you can protest, the bard disappears in a cloud of confetti. You hear Malclip's spells crackling in the distance as he leads the soldiers away. The caravan awaits. Ariadne, Colborne, and Australia draw their weapons as the sound of the Empire draw closer. Tears well in Ares' eyes. I'm not one for goodbyes. I'll never forget the time we clubbed that ogre's head in together. Australia grips your arm briefly with a curt nod. It has been an honor. Finally, Colborne grabs your head and places his forehead gently against yours. Glory to you, sister. Oh yeah, I am playing as a female character. It played such a small, unimportant role, which is fine. Most games should have character creations where it doesn't matter if you're playing as a male or female or what you look like, since you almost never see your character anyways. In this game, you see the back of your character when fighting, and that's it. Now go, Australia says. We will follow after once the coast is truly clear. Exhausted, you open the door and a voice calls to you. Come, sit, catch your breath. They will not follow you here. Your memories are fading even now as we set the pieces in place. Gone to form the soul of the game we play. And so that's the end of Judgment. We got the gold, and it took a lot more time than what I really have recorded here. Probably about an extra 10 hours just to grind to get the platinum companions to get to this point.
And so the circle is complete. The entire journey to my door has been unwoven, and we understand how we came to be. Now there is only one.
So, for reaching the caravan at the Marigold Fields, we have unlocked an event called Feast of Kalis. which has a token on it. We've unlocked an adventurer's ride, or aid. Is that? I guess that says aid. But you can't really select the cards or look at them. All you can do is hit A. And the Shadow of the Empire shield. For extra reward for gold, for having all 4 companions with you at the end of all things, we now have a gain 20 gold, good fortune, a supplies of gain 10 gold, and a health tonic of gain 10 max life. And that was it. That's just like the only progress.
It has been timeless, our
made.
journey together. But now we see the truth of it all laid bare. You must help me. And together, we will return this world to the way it should be.
Well, we have some weird rain sound effects playing in the background from the game. I don't like that they do that. It's just too easy to think it's actually raining outside while where I am. So we have the world here, which looks like that may be the last event. They're not really teasing anything else, but they may just not unlock a final card. And yeah, there's still really no motivation here to try and get gold for this or for this. So into the world we go.
Now the final moment is here. I have taught you all I can.
So, it says prepare for the final journey. And weirdly, like, this is a completely different interface.
There is nothing in this world that Callus cannot bring to his aid.
Now, Callus, we thought was the Emperor, so yeah. Why am I so limited here? I can't scroll any further. So it feels to me like what is going on here is they're going to give me a choice in groups of cards to pick. Equipment. This is what we prepared for you. Take only your best equipment. And all enemies are brimstone, so it does feel like it is just going to be a boss fight. Doesn't seem like you get to pick a companion. Doesn't seem like there is a silver quest, so you're just going to get gold if you win. Doesn't seem like you're going to start with any equipment otherwise. Oh, I see how this is going. So we need to find out what cards are the right cards to take. We can inspect, I guess, everything. But this is going to take a while. Marksman's Bane is the one that has a shield that could reflect. So we'll take that one. And then gold shield is almost certainly not what we want. Let's just take Shadow of the Empire. We don't know what that does. Sacrificial blades. We have no idea if we even are going to equip these items. Like, maybe you're going to be fighting mages. So, I guess that might make some sense. This does 9 damage, this does 10 damage, so that's not a bad card to pick anyways. Yeah, you're probably not fighting goblins. So let's just make some assumptions here. We're going to fight mages. Without any other thought, you're going to take that. And I bet Empire's Burden is not the right card to take. Nazi's Revenge is probably not the right one to take. I would think Dead Man's Hand is a thought. There's just a question here. Am I doing one big boss fight? Or am I doing something more? Noticeably, in all of this, there is not a lot of options otherwise as far as health. Well, there aren't any options as far as health. So this may very well just be a gauntlet experience. There are no health potions, and there's very limited things as far as that affects. Let's just take Adventurer's Age also. We don't know what that does. Yeah, we could take Lionheart. Lionheart's not a terrible one. Yeah, we just don't know what we're doing here, so... Yeah. We don't know if this is going to be a long gauntlet or just one big boss fight. In the first game, if I'm remembering correctly, it was just one big boss
thus,
fight.
Our carriage arrives at our final destination. Now we will see what changes Callus has wrought, and play the game of life and death in truth.
So we're leaving the carriage. We had a whole cutscene there. And we're actually just walking around. It definitely is a weird thing where it feels like the makers of this game do just want to make a Unity game that would be an action game, and their ability just limited them to making a card game in the Hand of Fate 1. And then that just has led them to make Hand of Fate 2.
Thought I'd come along and make sure you didn't get too big for your boots. Savior of the world and all that.
Now the weird thing about this is I'm not sure these characters had voice lines, except for at this point. So there's your hero character. Seemingly they're just sitting here. They're not going to follow you. Here's your mage character. So we should see Australia and Colburn, the rebel.
Somebody needed to make sure you didn't mess this up.
And so you've created 4 interesting characters in the storyline that you probably can't make spin-off games or tell extra stories around. Like,
you have done well. Let us finish it.
It is all just different character classes of a fantasy game, with you being the RPG character who can choose their own class.
Well, here we are at our final meeting. You expect me to play cards? No, I have devoted my life to battle, and battle it shall be.
Okay, so I'll just come over here and activate everybody's abilities, and then we'll take out these guys pretty easily. I would assume what is going to happen here is that's going to just bring him here.
Only blood can finish this.
There's the dealer
Alone,
fighting.
we fight together.
That was way too premature to be using that. So that's one phase down.
I will not go easily to the next world.
have just like a completely different weapon. Oh, I see how this is going to play out. Alright, well, the move here is different from what it should have been. But clearly that's an example of the game, once again, just not really explaining things well. Whoops, hit the wrong button there and wasted that.
Find a worthy foe.
If this is to be the final battle, let them sing our praise when all is done.
It still feels weird siding with the dealer, but it may very well have been a case where it was a mistake in the first game to make the dealer be the bad guy. Anyways.
The world I have created is glorious. I have ruled over the ascent of our kind. We dominate them, as we should. You would risk all of this?
So now is the appropriate time to actually drink. Let's see. It is a visual mess, to say the least. With all this going on. Having thieves and wraiths all fight at the same time. Your companions will fight with you in this section, and then the dealer is the only person, it seems, that fights when Kalis actually gets to the ground. It's pretty obvious what, like, yeah, you can see all the companions are actually knocked down. So he's kind of just changing reality with giving you different equipment and items. And so I guess that's who Kalis was supposed to be from 200 years ago.
You cannot simply take this power. You will be changed by it. You will change the world. It will take your form. I hope you understand what that means. The next era will be marked by those traits you have shown me throughout the game. Persistence, violence, cunning, imagination. I wonder what sort of world I will find when you are done.
So you become the new Kalis, and you just, through the cards, are going to control the world to what seems like a fairly large amount, and just kind of whatever you say with the cards happens. So we have credits here with most of the people having silly nicknames. This is a great example of what you shouldn't do. Lolly09 as a nickname. Like, yes, video games are games and they're a form of entertainment, but there's two problems with silly nicknames. One is that there's still a profession, and the people who worked on this game should be respected, paid well, treated well, things like that. And so the silly nicknames are just not appropriate. Same is true for almost any job. Like, calling people by silly nicknames in the job is a way to lead down the path of people not respecting you and you getting treated too much like friends or family and not enough like a coworker. The other problem with that is there's just now inconsistency, because a lot of people also don't have nicknames. So then the people that don't choose to do that feel like they look like they are just sticks in the mud, and so you're creating a division there that doesn't need to be made, instead of unifying your team. It's different if somebody's a Kickstarter person and they want a nickname listed in the credits than it is if employees of you have their names in the credits. And a lot of people do want to go by nicknames, and it's part of a boss's job to say, no, we're going to have you presented in the best possible light for your own career and for your resume. The other problem is video game programmers, as much as some of them may want to be, are not celebrities. And the few directors of games who have tried to be celebrities usually lead to some pretty disastrous results of just massively overinflated egos. You could say, for instance, Ken Levine, the maker of the BioShock, he became too much of a celebrity and talked about too much. The Gears of War producer, the Fable producer, Todd Howard of Bethesda, Skyrim, and Fallout. The nickname for Todd Howard is literally God Howard. And yeah, we just really shouldn't have celebrities. Kojima from Death Stranding and Kojima Productions. Yeah. These people are artists, yes, but they are artists who are promoting and selling their video game creation ability, not artists who should be promoting and selling themselves. Now, that is not to say that there shouldn't be credits or that they should just be hidden away completely. I do think game developers should be celebrated in a more equal fashion from the lowest employee to the highest employee, but it should be done in a fairly professional manner. So we had some decent music here, and we see an empty chair, and it just says press start. So we'll see what happens here. We had no opportunity to play Feast of Kalis. There. For defeating Kalis, we get Kalis's ring as a platinum card. And we have gold. So my thought process here is, unless Kalis's ring did something amazing,
the world itself will fight upon his side.
Yeah. We now seem to know what this card does, even though it's labeled as new. We now seem to know what this card would do. So the move here is, this is the first weapon you're going to fight with, this is the second weapon you're going to fight with, and this is the third weapon you're going to fight with in the phases. And nothing else, I guess, really changes that much. If this was a sword, you probably would be able to use the shield at the beginning, but maybe not. Maybe you always start with two-handed weapons. Yeah, these are all 200 weapons. These are all one-handed, and then these are two-handed. So it goes two-handed, one-handed, two-handed, just to test you and make sure you know how to play each different way. So yeah, unless it was a case where Kalis's ring drastically changed things, I don't think there's a lot of motivation here to try and get gold on this, or try and get gold on this. I am surprised I made it to the credits, but it was a lot of struggle and not a lot of fun. I really can't recommend this game to people. If you really loved Hand of Fate 1, then this is probably exactly in your wheelhouse, but if you didn't enjoy that at all, then you're probably not going to find anything that interesting here, or anything really different. We could say take this event card. We probably should do this. And then probably can change things pretty easily by just playing really good event cards. Change of plans even might play well in this DLC. Now this would be the event cards that, this would be the content that you would likely have played after beating the game. You should focus on playing only after you've beaten the game. I don't think that there would be anything else around here. Now this one's probably a bad card because this one you trade blessings for blessings and max life for blessings. So I'm kind of just randomly picking things here. I'll just get rid of all of these. So this would be the state we're in. We have a Shadow DLC card here, weapon, that we could focus on. And then we have a lot of things that still have tokens, and we have a lot of things that even if we went all the way through unlocking them, it probably wouldn't do that much. We only were able to achieve its shard goal 4 times in that last run in the boss fight combined. So I'd still need to play with that quite a bit. And this is not a... Still don't know what that does, I guess. This is not a quest where you're going to start with items. So it's probably not the right move. Dead Man's Hand may be the right move for that item. First quest. Charged bashes, still doable. Probably not gonna fight any ogres in this quest. Charged bashes. Still have massive amounts of wheel gambits that would have to have been done to unlock that. Bash enemies. There's a real high desire to have you bash a lot of enemies more than you're likely to ever pull off. Going to try and play new cards, we need to know what Kaelus's Ring does, for sure. Which, if we want to know what Kaelus's Ring, what it does, then that makes the argument to go back and take this away and do this instead. Okay. And notice here, while you got these upgrades, they are not letting you cheese it. It's not like you kept the plus 10 gold to start with, so that in some scenarios you could start with like plus 10 gold and plus 20 gold and just have a massive amount of gold. And you would have only gotten these upgrades after beating the game, so these upgrades really not going to help you on the path of getting platinum enemies. I mean platinum companions. That might be helpful. That might be helpful. But then we also know that there's at least one shadow card. So kind of have to take that. And there was nothing else new. So this quest is really the only last quest that I haven't succeeded at. And it's a very weird one in the servant. So I don't know if I can actually beat this or even care to bother to beat it, but we'll give it one try and we'll go along today, and then more than likely that's going to be the end of the series. I am well ready to move on. This is weird because you go into the shadows to move past, and you have to decide to go into the shadows.
Here in the light, you are once more at risk.
There is a weird choice here, because there are other quests where you will land on a token character, which the token characters don't make that much sense, and the whole layout and tabletop, all of it could have been much more drastically changed for the second game in the experiments to make it a better experience. Sate your companion's hunger to settle your debt. Okay. We'll give him, I guess, 110 life now. And then we can just cook food. So you probably would want the ring that would give you more health from food. And starting with extra food, you're already in a better position to begin with. It seems very weird that you have to go in this Shadow Realm to fight goblins. Let's see. I have gotten slightly better at these gambles, but I still really haven't gotten very good at them. It's still very easy to mess them up. I feel like the game maybe has slowed down how the cards move by a very small percentage, maybe 5% at most, just since the way it used to be. These guys are strong enough to kill me. And I don't think my companion's ability involves drinking any blood from those characters. In battle, at least. Let's see. Okay. 25 shadows, but requires 16 fame, so it'd be quite a while before we'd be able to equip that. Huge success. I should have taken the other one, actually. Yeah, I just really don't see a way you would finish this quest easily. I don't know why the game is suggesting heavy armor against the Empire when we're not fighting the Empire. Well, I guess we are fighting some of the Empire. You'd think these shadows might be dangerous, but I'm not sure they really are. They're not really doing too much.
Fools!
My life is low. It's hard to even tell who you're supposed to be fighting there between the companion and otherwise.
Every failure in combat can be balanced by success on the table.
So let's think about this for a brief second before just immediately quitting. We would need something. We still don't know what this does, so I do kind of want to go in that direction. But yeah, we could increase our max health with Lionheart a lot. So Lionheart almost certainly is the right move. That would give us 5 max health and 50 life. And then what we could do is try and replace encounters with other life gain things. Like the shrine gives you life and max life. So that almost certainly is the right move there too. But a lot of these encounter cards you're just not even going to see. And then max life and food is right. And this one, apparently nothing counts unless you actually win the fight. So you could either play this and defeat 40 reposit 40 shadows. Ah, that's even more difficult. Alright, let's quickly give this one more time, but I think I probably will just fail exactly the same. Maybe don't give him any health and save your food. If I made it past one fight and then needed to use all my food to heal up, yeah, that's possible. The goal really does feel like to probably beat this once. Yeah, it's probably to beat this once just to get the silver outcome, and then spend the energy to play it a second time after the fact. Now, you don't seem like you can trade items. And it doesn't seem like it benefits you to, in any way, wander around in these levels. You probably should just be racing to the end. Which for a DLC level, racing towards the end is exactly not what you want. You would want something that's much closer to Enlist that could be just playable forever. You can try and retarget these characters, but your level of success on that is going to be fairly limited. If you bash these characters, then you can keep them stunned and hit them a little bit easier. I still don't really see a scenario here in this final
Some
DLC
weapons,
level.
this one included, require a great hero to carry them.
I don't see how you're going to get that extra life. If you got really lucky, drained your life down to give them 100, then had a ton of gold to heal yourself back up, that might make some sense, but just don't see how that scenario would really happen. You basically would have to do it 4 or 5 times. So it does feel like there's probably some other trick here.
Time is past, and I will.
Clearly you need your companion to be in some kind of red robe. And I guess they have a special moon background to show you what the phase of the moon is. Maybe your companion gets really strong when you get to the full moon. But it's all I can do, even with extra food, to just get my health back up.
As the shadows fade, watch closely. You are being followed.
These are fairly difficult enemies. And I'm still really bad at these. So I guess if I got change of plans and got a different companion, maybe I could get some assistance on that, but I bet in this quest if you change the companion then you can't get the bargain and feed him health, and then you can't get gold. Maybe it wouldn't even let you change companion. If there was more characters that you need, or more quests to kill thieves, this would be a good DLC section to do that. And it used to feel like when they went red, you just had to run, but nowadays it seems like the weapons are slightly strong enough that you can get one more hit on them. telling which way is the actual right way out. Really don't need gold. It seems like you know. Okay. Now these kinds of gambles you should be fairly good at. A lot of
That will
red
set you in
failure
good
options
stead
there,
from
but
here.
nice wide silver.
This one remains your business. I am not yet ready to confront the usurper.
So, yeah. So he was the usurper, I guess, because he took some of the cards, but not all of the cards. Or one set of cards, and there was another set of cards that the dealer was able to create. The town of Witchburn, I would assume it's pronounced that way, celebrates the Feast of Kalis in honor of the great adventurer who rid their town of ratmen a century ago. Children dressed as goblins dance around the bonfire. Even the local lord has made an appearance dressed as the great adventurer Kalis himself. He arrived just in time for the jousting tournament. Adderlad the Pale, a pompous knight with a reputation for debauchery, is calling you. Reward the opponent, you sign up to put him in his place. Okay. With one look at your attire, the hostess takes you to the changing tent, stocked with equipment belonging to other knights. You're not going to survive in that outfit. Also, Adderlad is a pig, so I'd like to see him felled. Quickly grab something before they see us. Okay. So what do we want as far as items? I guess probably what we would want is a artifact or a ring. Let's pick a ring. Well, that's not the ring we wanted. Notice this gives you a strange look. Well, I'm not sure how this is going to help you in a joust, but you're the adventurer here. Once you saddle up with you and Adderlad the Pale, bring your horses to a gallop and get ready to strike. Right, so this is a fairly tight gold choice. I've gotten fairly good at these. Ulan strikes him square in the chest. His foot gets caught in the stirrups as he falls. The townsfolk cheer as the horse drags him out of the arena. You have won the joust.
Show your worth through action.
And so now we can equip a stronger weapon. And we've gotten that token.
Earned.
So at least we can see what that token gets us. Probably a platinum card. Very possibly a platinum card that's rather good. That gives you one of any kind of item you want. This is kind of a game ender encounter, I would imagine. Decent amount of gold there too, all of which not really that helpful. So if the exit's not there, I'd have to assume it's up here on the right. And we will just keep on chasing it. A lot of cards here, resolving into nothing. So here you visit the mother, and you can ask for a pumpkin, which will give you food gains. Then you can ask and get all kinds of storyline stuff if you're interested. You can visit the fortune teller. Borden's fortune, Velis's fortune, your fortune. Fortune teller not really doing anything for you. We can offer them food. You can just exhaust all this dialogue, but it doesn't seem like it really does anything for you, so you might as well have potentially just stolen their food. And so we move to the next section. I don't think I've really made it even this far. And I definitely haven't done anything here that would have given me a chance to feed him 500 life. Or even 250 life at this point. So unless this was a really, really long experience, I'm not sure. I'm not even sure if I'm supposed to be repositing shadows or killing shadows. Either one is going to be the right move anyways, though, so just do what I can.
The moment draws
I assume one of the moves here is probably to kill the other enemies first.
ever dutiful.
I'm not sure which one, again, I'm supposed to actually be fighting. And the moon does seem like it is changing every level in the background, and it's always this place where we fight in that encounter at the beginning of each level. So it's just straight up reminding me. Defeat 25 shadows. Well, looks like there's a chance of that actually happening. So I have no idea which one is the best reward there, but we'll take one. And if I recall correctly, I think the exit is up here and to the left. And then these encounters are just some safety encounters that I know won't hurt me in any way. I have 65 gold right now, though, so unless I can find a shop, that money is just completely going to be wasted. And I'm about to get even more. I'm almost to 100 gold. That's a very high number. That doesn't seem like it's going to matter too much. Maybe it would get me some kind of achievement. But it's not like every one of these encounters lets you use fame or bribery to avoid encounters. It's not that open-ended like a Dungeons and Dragons game might be. I'm so bad at this. You would think that there would be something where your companion would drink the blood of these enemies, and so it would just be like kill the characters quickly, or don't kill them at all and let your companion do all the work. Yeah, I'm quickly running out of things to say here. Also, I'm trying to focus and trying to actually win, so I'm not just wasting everybody's time. 25 fame at this point is almost nothing. What you probably could do is something like this, where you keep it 25 less. After each fight, and you regain your like health. Oh, this really is just random, isn't it?
Here in the light, you are once more at risk.
So I don't have a curse, so now I'm going to get a curse. That's not a terrible curse anyways. Right, so I would have to assume the trick here is probably to go back.
Captured once more, challenged once more. I would think you would have learned.
Yeah, I would think it's got to be in the top right. That's the furthest away from where we started, and it tends to be where the exits are. Alright, so skeletons. Let's get rid of the northerners first. Very rarely are you fighting skeletons in the first place. Oh, that slice actually hit 3 of them in a row. I'm trying to reposit the northerners, just does not really work. So yeah, unless these encounters and getting ambushed led to you getting a lot of health. Revive your companion to continue. We could either wait and consume 1 food, which is the right move. And so we can wait several times, but that only gets me to get my health up above 25 health to then feed him 25 health, so I'm down to 1. This event card is probably terrible.
I'm not a vain man. You must appreciate that this game, has been my focus for more years than I can count. I have a certain pride regarding its twists and turns.
So, we're now in a situation, the deadly choice here. Do we risk starvation, or do we risk dying in a fight? Night of the Blood Moon is almost upon you. Don't let the Blood Moon pass, servant. I did not save you from the pits for you to fail me. The brilliant crimson moon hangs high overhead as you journey through the past. The blood moon is at its zenith, and I am left wanting. You did not sate your companion's hunger before the blood moon. You have failed to win the gold token. Yeah, this is a fairly short encounter to do that. The only thing I could think is that you've got to either get some special items, or you've got to just fight people over and over again. Fight all the guards, fight every single encounter, have every single correct encounter set up. Even with the shrine, even with healer, even with every card that just comes to mind immediately, having 500 life seems like a very tall order, particularly knowing that you're going to end up fighting quite a bit, and so you also have to kind of focus on that. Well, let's see if we can just get the silver coin. You were chosen for your strength, your cunning, but you demonstrated neither. The shadow beast eyes snap to the trees ahead. And see, we're still not even done. So there's a high chance, I don't think I've even made it this far before, there's a high chance that you would still fail here. And at the end of the day, you get the silver quest, and that will unlock the shadow companion. Then you need to grind either an Enlist or on other companions. Here we can see the blood moon.
It is too late.
So
You will
I
suffer
wonder
for me.
if maybe the move is to just kind of avoid encounters and fights in the first place. Particularly when they're red.
I feed.
Yeah, I can do this, certainly. I can just run circles, and this is much like fighting the ogre. You can run circles until your companion needs health or needs his ability activated. Of course, if you're being attacked by shadows that have a undodgeable attack or nearly undodgeable attack, the second I try to even take a couple of empty swipes, his attacks basically attack people in group, so there isn't he's not going to kill anybody really until he kills the large group of them. At best, I'm just pot-shotting people. And that's assuming that none of them are healing. Nothing really stops the characters from healing. Either. So you can see that took a lot more time than it really should have to just run around and do that. And I probably will have to do that again. Why am I losing 20 gold? So I have 2 food. I assume you're still using food when you go in the shadow step, but maybe you aren't.
Mistakes followed by further errors, and you are a prisoner once again.
Probably gonna die in this fight, even if I did. If I walk downward and that's not the end of this encounter, I'm also pretty doomed. These guys are pretty dumb, so what I probably want to do is get a combo going and use it against thieves and use it against this wraith. Question is, more important to kill the thieves or the wraith? The thieves, I think, are pretty deadly, whereas I'm not sure the wraith is that as deadly as he might seem. But remember, our companion was also knocked out. So there may not be a way to go forward here. Well, I am going to be pathetically low on food and gold now.
Perhaps you regret your initial decisions.
And change of plans did not work at all. So this has got to be, one would hope, the right move. Nope, messed that up completely.
You should focus
And we
more
lose
on defense
on a
than
failed
offense,
swing.
I think. The opportunity to strike back will always present itself.
I feel like that is probably a perfect example of the problems with Hand of Fate 2. Is that you can just put a lot of energy in trying to achieve something, and at best case scenario, you might make a little bit of progress or unlock a token on one card, but in most cases, you won't even do that. For defeating Sir Aderlad the Pale in a jousting match, we have Feast of Kalis 2, which makes me suspect it's probably a Feast of Kalis 3, maybe a Feast of Kalis 4. I wouldn't be surprised if it just kind of goes on forever and is kind of like the arm wrestling card. So, yeah, I think there we have it for Hand of Fate 2. I really can't recommend this to anybody other than the biggest of fans. Oh, this is interesting. They've changed it now. Instead of just having random companions sitting at the campfire, you're actually inside a building with your main platinum companions. I wonder if that changed a little bit here and there as I unlock things, because I have definitely not been to the customization menu. So as far as character selections go, no grinding. Changed the added a third gender, or added a fifth location. Some amount of grinding, I think, may have unlocked some hoods here, different color hoods, but I'm pretty sure the haircuts were always the same, and the different colors on the haircuts I think have always been the same. Maybe not, maybe you unlocked a couple. Their pendant that you have seems to play absolutely no part in the game at all. If it does play a role, it's incredibly poorly unexplained. I mean, can't even say poorly explained, just not explained at all. And then with some amount of shard collecting and grinding, I think we may have unlocked one extra color palette. And that's it. Yeah, kind of wish that there was a better Cardopedia Pokedex type system here to be able to look at all the cards, but in fairness, you can basically do that just by selecting things. I imagine Feast of Kalis 1 is now no longer selectable. Although maybe it is. It could be hidden way down here. The vast majority of these cards are not worth playing after the first time, and nothing stands out as being amazing. Yeah, if there was a piece of Kalis 1, it would have been here, starting with F. Yeah, it would have been between here and this card. Then the equipment, vast majority of the equipment cards are not worth playing with more than once to unlock something better with the token. I could see making this game a lot more narrower, where you just had one two-handed style pike weapon and it just upgraded via experience points in an RPG level, or upgraded when you got a token on that. And yeah, one two-handed style weapons. Like, a lot of effort has been put into making a variety of cards and weapons, and none of them stand out as being important enough to even mention, where weapons and equipment in games really should be fairly iconic. Or you have to then, if you're going to go the other direction and just have a ton of weapons and equipment, you then have to compete with what that really means in modern times when you think of a game like Borderlands that has a automatic gun generating algorithm effectively, and you're just getting massive amounts of variety there. And even in that case, almost all Borderlands guns are derivative of a few base guns, and most of them are not that interesting either. Yeah, there would have been, there clearly is a desire to have like a really powerful weapon be unlocked for completing a quest, but it would have had to have been the only powerful weapon. There's too many weapons here, so yeah, and none of them stand out as being that powerful. They also fairly dropped the ball as far as blessings and curses. If they were going to go heavily in that, it makes very little sense that you can only get 2 blessings to start off with. You probably should be able to just shift all your equipment into being supplies, and then just start every run with all of your equipment. But then that hurts the idea of encounters that would give you equipment, and then that just kind of hurts the game as it is, which, yeah, I don't particularly enjoy the game as it is. I could certainly ramble on, but I think I've made my feelings fairly clear in the past 50 plus hours of episodes. This has been a weird series, certainly, with taking long breaks between the early episodes and the last few episodes, playing a lot off screen to grind to at least get to this point where we've mostly succeeded on easy mode and still would fail miserably on normal mode. Let's not forget that. But yeah, I am done with Hand of Fate 2, and the lesson I take finishing this game is that I am probably done in all future cases of playing sequels to games if I didn't really enjoy the first game. No longer am I gonna stick around and try and complete trilogies. I might even skip a number 2 in a trilogy if number 2 turns out to be a bad game, where number 1 and number 3 might be good. But yeah, just playing games because I played the previous one is not a good enough justification, even as a YouTube video game critic, anymore to me, particularly when the games are sometimes very demanding of your time. I almost certainly would have had a much better experience with this game had it just been short and sweet, a 10 to 15 hour experience. But that definitely wasn't the case. And there's definitely a way you could have made the game that way. You could have made each one of these missions super easy, where you win almost no matter what, and then you could have had a ton of equipment cards and grinding, and you could have had brimstone versions of every single mission that just make the game a little bit more difficult to play a second time, and then you could have double brimstone versions even to play again. But the fact that the easy mode, easiest way to beat a lot of these levels, took hours and hours of effort was just way too frustrating. Anyways, that's going to be it for this series. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and keep on watching. And on that aspect, if you go to my YouTube page and click on the playlist tab, you'll see a playlist for every game I've ever covered, including Hand of Fate 1. So check that out. I have a lot of footage there. Good night.